Hi everyone and welcome to my second feature of 2022. I thought it was about time to talk about the Elise. Now there's a lot to talk about, so this will be in multiple parts. Many books and videos have already been produced about the Elise, I know. So this is my recollection and a little bit more. In its 26 years of production, over 35,000 were built of all types, the most of any Lotus model. In production years, the Esprit beat it at a 28-year production run, and in that time just over 10,000 Esprits were built. In this feature, I'll be talking about the Series 1 Elise from 1996 to 2001, which accounted for about 10,500 of the 35,000 total. I'll also be mentioning two other models that evolved from the Series 1, the 340R and the Exige. So before I talk about the car that probably saved Lotus, let's have a look back at that time. At Lotus in 1993, the only car being produced was the Esprit S4, following the end of production of the Excel in 1992. In 1993, 233 S4s were produced, not really enough to keep the place going, so something new was needed and fairly soon for Lotus to survive. After GM had killed off the Elan and a fair few redundancies had happened, morale was a bit low at Hethel, and the uncertainty following GM's intention to sell Lotus didn't really help. In August 1993, GM sold Lotus to a group headed by the charismatic Italian businessman Romano Artioli. He also owned and resurrected the Bugatti brand. Now they would go on and produce the EB110 supercar with a 60-valve V12 engine that had 4 turbos and produced over 550 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive. Performance 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds and a top speed of up to 210 miles an hour. It was quite a car. Now obviously Lotus needed a new car to sell, and so work began on the Type 111. It was originally conceived as a low-volume, lightweight sports car with no doors or windows, which was called a step-in for obvious reasons. After several meetings regarding safety and type approval, this concept was dropped and a car with doors, windows and an open roof was decided on. Now the car was designed by Julian Thompson, then head of Lotus Design, a nice guy and a very talented designer. Now at the time Julian owned a Ferrari Dino, and I think Julian may have been subconsciously influenced by that car with the Elise. Now, you'll see in this early drawing of the Elise, the tail is nicely rounded. Although this looked nice, it presented a problem as far as aerodynamics were concerned. It was discovered that at high speed, the shape of the car and its flat underside caused lift at the rear end. Not an ideal situation because it would make the car unstable, even dangerous at high speeds. So a rear wing was suggested to create downforce and cancel the lift. Now I heard that this suggestion did not go down too well with Julian, as it would spoil the look of his design. Apparently it all got a bit heated. The situation was resolved to the satisfaction of all parties by the addition of an integral rear wing element built into the rear clamshell. Now at the time I remember seeing this funny looking thing driving around the test track. It was of course the Elise with no clothes on. The car was revealed to the world almost 27 years ago at the Frankfurt Motor Show in September 1995. My first taste of what this car could do was when a gent called Joe Bedford, who had been the company chauffeur and was now service manager in our little workshop in the centre of the test track, turned up with one of the prototypes. I jumped in with him, off we went round the test track. Now, Joe was a good driver and demonstrated the capability of the Elise, mostly sideways. Joe used to race sidecars, so was used to light, fast things. Well, I was impressed, not only with Joe's driving, but the car, which was fantastic. This, I thought, is going to sell very well. Now, also launched in 1995 was the MGF, and apart from the powertrain, they were chalk and cheese. Price-wise, the Elise would set you back around $18,950, and the MGF about 17 grand. The Elise weighed 755 kilos, and the MGF weighed 1,060 kilos. Performance was for the Elise 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds, top speed of 125. The MGF 0 to 60 9 seconds and a top speed of 120 mph. The real test for me was when I had to return an MGF that we had for evaluation back to MG Rover in the Midlands. It felt heavy, underpowered and soft. It was like comparing a St Bernard to a Greyhound. Sorry to any MGF fans out there, but that's just my opinion. One thing that worked better on the MGF was the hood. Mind you, that wouldn't be hard considering the Elise hood contraption. So what made the Elise so special? Well, there had to be the aluminium tub, and the engineer architect responsible for that was Richard Rackham. Richard started at Lotus back in 1987, same year as me, and he's still there today, unlike me. Interestingly, in 1995, Renault introduced the Sport Spider, initially as a one-make race series and then some road versions. Now I only mention this because this car used an extruded aluminium chassis like the Elise, but where the Elise tub was bonded, the Renault was welded, and in my opinion didn't look half as good. They only made about 1800 cars and went out of production in 1999. The Elise started production in June 1996. So that's the introduction to the Elise. In the following parts I'll have a good look at the car from the technical side of things, also the model history and an all-round view of the car and its good points and its bad points. Similar to the series I did on the Evora last year. If you already own the Elise or are thinking about buying one, keep watching. You never know, it may help you. So if you haven't subscribed yet, click on the button and then you won't miss any episodes. So until then, take care, enjoy life, enjoy your Lotus and so long.